Good morning. Welcome back to Farming Simulator 25, Remote Off-Grid series on the homestead map. And it's raining. Lovely. Fortunately, I'm not doing any harvesting, so it can rain all at once. It says I need to run the weeder through this. Oh, yep, there's a weed. Alright. Guess I'll start as I always do with the greenhouses. Yeah, it's Memorial Day weekend for me. Actually, it's Friday. So that means I'm off until Tuesday, which is good because my oat seed and my sorghum seed showed up today, so I want to get those planted this weekend before it's too late. I'm not planting much, just a pound of oats and a pound of sorghum. Because I don't have a combine, I don't have a seeder or a planter. I'm only planting a small amount. I'm just hoping I'll be able to fill up a few of my metal 55-gallon drums with seed, with grain. I'm not going to thrash it or anything. I'm literally just going to cut the heads off and then throw the heads into the barrels and then use them for feed. Why are my pallets being sticky? I think since I'm in the rain, they'd be slippery, not sticky. Alright, let's check. Preserve food factory. So, Yeah, I'm still finding everything but Napa cabbage. Since I'm this far out, I'm gonna go check on the rice field quick like. There we go. But now I know that while the spader applies the plowed state to the field, it doesn't have the plow's effect of preventing weeds for that planting. So I do know that after I spade, I'll have to run the weeder through the field. I should replace my weeder with a hoe. Alright, I'll see you at the shop. Alright, here I am at the shop. So let's just call my total 34,000. Alright, so 18,600. Guess that's okay. Okay or not, that's what I got, so. They're leaving my chicken feed sit out here in the rain. Fortunately, it's in a plastic big bag to keep it dry. Alright, I'll see you when I'm back at the farm. Alright, back at the farm. Since it's the first of the month, I need to do the watering. There we go. This should actually fill up the first greenhouse all on its own. It did. Good. Yeah, one of the reasons why I like this particular water barrel is I can unhook it and leave it sitting there, and while it's sitting there unhooked, it'll still run water. And you can fill and overload at the same time, which makes it work great on a map where I can use my water distributor. So I can put the water distributor and windmill right next to each other and just basically transfer the water directly from the windmill through the trailer and into the water distributor. But the Farmer's RP pack that I'm using for this series does not allow that. Well, it allows me to do that, but it does not allow me to distribute. It only allows storing for productions, which the water distributor and the greenhouses are considered productions. Although for the production rule, I don't count, I count crop type, not building type, when it comes to greenhouses. Alright, I'll be back when I'm done watering. Alright, the watering is done. So I took the New Holland and I'm going to start spading the next sorghum field. Looks like I'm almost out of gas. Or diesel. So take care of that quick like while I'm here. It's using a lot of diesel. Alright. Let me check quickly and see what the maximum speed of this tool is. 4 miles per hour, so yeah, it's doing what it can do. Actually, I'm doing better than what it's supposed to be able to do. So I'm doing 5 miles per hour. Alright, I'll be back when I'm done speeding. Alright, I'm coming to the end of the spading. I was considering expanding my field a little bit into that area over there, but there's still a lot of stumps over there I'd have to grind up and get rid of before I can really till and use that section of ground. So I'm just going to let it be. Alright, all the spading is done for the year. Get my maintenance taken care of here. Clean the spader. And of course the back of the tractor where I have to work. There we go. Let's see how much diesel is left in my tank here. Okay, I still got quite a bit. Alright, grab my planter and get this last field of sorghum planted. Alright, turn on crop sensor. Yeah, this field had a couple spots I missed when I was plowing, so I fixed that. And there was a couple over here in crop fields that I missed, and I fixed those too. Yeah, I've got some sorghum seed that showed up in the mail today. I'm going to use to plant sorghum in real life tomorrow. Alright. Since I don't have a planter or a combine, I'm going to have to just hand sow it. But you see what I'm doing. I'll be back when I'm done planting sorghum. Alright, coming up here to the end of the sorghum. Okay. Sorghum planting is done. which means I'm done with this planter until fall. I'll unload it here. Alright, small amount of maintenance. Let's get it all cleaned up. Of course, clean up the back of the tractor so I don't get all dirty when I unhook it. Go park the planter. I'll blacken the baler since I'm not going to be using that baler anytime soon. It probably will come back into use at some point. I just don't have any use for it right now. Now I need the roller. Alright, I'll be back when the rolling is done. Alright, there we are, finishing up the rolling. And done. Kind of running out of time here. It's already 5:30. I need to get the weeder onto these fields. Alright, the roller doesn't get used for root crops, so I'll go ahead and get it maintained, serviced, and put away. Let me check my calendar here to make sure I'm okay for time. I still have the second half of this month. All right. So I still have plenty of time to plant parsnips or red beets. Of the two, I like parsnips better, so I'm going to plant the parsnips. Yeah, because I'll eat parsnips just as parsnips, but I'm not really a fan of red beets and carrots. I like carrots in things, but I don't like eating just carrot. So I'm going to be selfish and make what I like. Parsnips. Too bad I can't have turnips, because I really like turnips. That turnip is like an onion and potato and one vegetable. It's really good. Alright. Hook up to my weeder. Fortunately, I have narrows on. So I don't have to worry about crop destruction. I need to come up with a way to get some help out here, though. If I'm starting to get to the point where I can't keep up with it on my own. Especially when I do what I did this year, where I'm planting everything in the same time of year. So I think after this one, I'm going to do half and half. I'm going to plant half my fields in wheat in the fall and then half in sunflowers in the spring. That way I can spread out my work cycle a little bit more. Alright, I'll be back when I'm done weeding both of these fields. Alright, here we go. The weeding is done. So I'll do my usual repair work. Clean it up. And I'm gonna have to drive one-handed now because I got a cat in my left arm that insists on being held like a baby. Let's see here. Get myself into a... Yeah. Put it right next to the windrower where I had it before. A little bit further away, since this tractor's wider than the John Deere. Yeah, in Farming Simulator 25, it doesn't matter if you bump equipment next to you. However, in real life, just a small bump can do real damage. Alright. Okay. As usual, I'm going to start off by doing the produce. Although, I'm going to pause for a minute here until Cat is done being held, then I'll come back. Okay, Cat had nothing left. So now I have full use of both arms again. Yeah, I kind of appreciate that the truck has a pneumatic curtain side controls, so I still would rather be able to open and close it without starting the truck. I wonder, I was thinking about doing an experiment of buying one more pallet of wheat and sticking it in the windmill to see if I process it into noodle soup, if I actually make a profit off of buying wheat. I know you don't make a profit off of just making wheat into flour, but maybe two steps of making wheat into flour, then flour into noodle soup. that might make a profit. I got several pallets of wheat at the shack waiting for me to pick up today. And I'm going to need it to feed the chickens here later in the day. I suppose I could just do the math and calculate it out. It'd be so much simpler just to buy a pallet of wheat and run through the process. And that would take into account, hidden variables that I don't necessarily know about. So that's what I think I'll do when I go to pick up that wheat. I'll take my rifle with me. I'll put 5 of the pellets of wheat into the bed of the unimog and then pick up the last one with the forks. I'll stick one of them into the windmill, then the rest I'll just use to feed chickens and then put it into the silo for later use. Because if nothing else, that's relatively little extra work for me to make better use of the preserved food production, which is not being used anywhere near close to capacity. Alright, I'll see you at the shop. Alright, here I am at the shop now. So we're at 53,000. Alright. So, yeah, about 18,000 again. Let's see, what is my environmental bonus right now? This is just sitting in here lost, and I've already built the preserved food factory, but I'm not getting credit for it. Alright. So, somewhere around 72%. 66 is what it's saying is my environmental score bonus. Hmm. It'll probably go up once I put nitrogen on these fields on my right, okay. And the cat is back. I think Fat Boy just had to pay a visit to the kibble vault and then come back for more attention. Alright, I'll see you back at the farm. Alright. Back to the farm. So now I need to feed chickens since it's the second half of the month. So I'm going to grab the Una mug and the wifo and then go pick up my chicken food at the shop. Oh, and I'm going to test the wheat this month, and next month I will test using the oats. Because I can make flour from oats as well. Alright, I'll see you at the shop. Alright. There we go. Kind of particular about where you park in order to transfer the wheat into the Unimog. But apparently, the front porch is a good spot to do it. Alright. I'll see you back at the farm. Alright, here I am at the shop, or the farm. Let's stick that wheat in there. Turn on production. Wheat flour. That's a 1-to-1 exchange. I think this will be more likely to be profitable with oats, because oat is $100 less per 1,000 liters. And instead of being a 1-to-1, see, oats are a 15-to-20. Good, it's just dumping right in. That's why I was hoping would happen. I wouldn't have to do the dancing around of trying to... Alright, tip side is right. So, switch that to tip side left. There we go, tip side left. So I'll go ahead and buy another pallet of wheat to make up for the one I just used. And a pallet of oats. Then I'll put the rest of this wheat here into the silo to be fed to the chickens later. Cover up in the mud, keep water and dirt out. Hook the New Holland up to the hiller. There we go. Oh, that's one thing I forgot to do. I need to flood. It looks like it's still okay for flooding. Alright. Oh, thank goodness it's swapped back. It's one of the annoying things is sometimes you'll accidentally swap it to the wrong field and then it doesn't want to swap back. People trying to sell me stuff all the time. Put my number on the national do not call list, and then they just start calling me from outside of the country instead. Although sometimes I wonder when I get a call from like Zimbabwe or South Africa, maybe they just forgot to turn on their number spoofer or something. Because what person in their right mind that doesn't have a connection to one of those two countries would answer a call from one of those two countries? Yeah, so everybody has any reason to call me whatsoever, I have their number saved in my phone. So unless it's their name that pops up, I just don't answer. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna eliminate this outside. That outside road just does so little because it's so hard to get planted into. Or maybe if I swapped from rear narrow twins to just narrows, maybe I could plant it, but alright, but from here on out it's just straight back and forth, so I'll pop back in once the planting is done. Alright, all the parsnips are planted, and it appears I need to run the weeder through my sunflowers over here. So right now I'm going to go grab my fertilizer spreader and fertilize my parsnips. Oops. Yeah, but that worked nice here. The New Holland has enough power to actually run both tools at the same time. So that made planting a little bit easier. Alright. Since I'm not going to use this again until next year, it's time to do maintenance. I'm going to leave these two hooked together since I no longer have any reason whatsoever to split them apart again, so. I haven't used my stump grinder yet. Need to use it over there next to the parsnip field. I wonder if using the stump grinder will yield wood chips. I think I'll need more fertilizer than that, so. Alright, and I'm going to turn on crop sensor. Alt B. Alright. Guess it don't hurt put on a little bit more since the crop sensor and everything says it needs it, so. Anything to boost yield a little bit, really. Let's see what my environmental score's done. It was at 66. So yeah, it's still sitting at 66. I want to get my total amount of fertilizer left in the spreader down to less than 1,000, so it'll only be in one tote. Alright, I'm gonna pop out because this video is getting long. Alright, I threw out all the fertilizer I can. I didn't use up quite as much as I'd want, but it used what it could. Now let me grab the weeder, and I'm going to go run the weeder through the sunflowers. I'm going to go ahead and run it through the parsnips too. I'm not convinced it does anything for the parsnips, but might as well go ahead and do it anyway. Okay, so I'm sitting at... So all that fertilizer bumped my environmental score up 1 point. This is just a bunch of up and downs, so I'll pop out and I'll be back when I'm done with the weeding. Okay, the weeding is done. It's just after 5. I want to try something here quick like. I'm going to hook up to my stump grinder, which I haven't used yet, and go over and grind up a stump or two and see if they produce wood chips. Alright, so let's see. B. No, it does not produce wood chips. But does do a pretty good job eliminating these stumps. Yeah, I'll use this as my screen, as my thumbnail. Alright. I didn't produce any wood chips, but it did get rid of those stumps that have been in my way. So that's good enough in my book. Okay, well, it's 6 o'clock in game, and this video is well over an hour long, so I'm going to end this episode here. Thank you very much for watching.